Hey guys, continuing my Kibbe series, I'm gonna leave a link on the playlist down below. So today we're gonna talk about controversial Kibbe celebrities. There are some celebrities that people are slightly confused about. Celebrities do a lot of things to their bodies. The easiest thing is Photoshop, from working out in the gym to loads of surgeries. So surgeries can change a lot of things for a person. This person might not look like this type anymore. So that's why sometimes when we look at some people, we feel confused slightly because the nature what created them that way and they changed something, and it kind of breaks that natural pattern and you don't quite see them as one overall piece. So it's hard to tell. However, we can still see some essence, we can still see the look, how the person looks just in general. And we still see the majority of the elements. First celebrity that I wanted to talk to you about is Madonna as romantic. Many people didn't understand. Madonna, why is she romantic? She consists of so many sharp lines. For example, many people say that she has pretty sharp chin, sharp lips, sharp nose. And her body is now super straight and very powerful, right? So she has a lot of yang. Yes, she's tiny, but she kind of has a lot of yang in her. First of all, she is small and she looks small, short. She has short bones on her arms and legs, shortened limbs. That is already can't be one of the higher types. It can't be flamboyant, natural, dramatic, or soft dramatic. It can't be one of the tall types. So it can be one of the smallest types. Now, in the smallest types, what we have: flamboyant gamine, soft gamine, romantic, theatrical, romantic. Romantic is soft, has shorter bones, has curvier body, and her flesh is noticeable, is more noticeable than her frame, and her body is not angular. So Madonna, first of all, she definitely overworked her body. She has a lot of muscles, and when you're working out your body, your waist becomes wider and your hips become narrower. David Kibbe, as I understand how he typed people many years ago. Imagine, this book is from the 80s, so to type the celebrities, he whether had to see them in person or from the distance somewhere, or he had to search for their pictures that was available. And in the 80s, there were no internet. He couldn't even check the height. He could check it somewhere maybe, but not in internet, not like that. He couldn't see their multiple pictures on a beach, in a bikini and stuff like that. So that was mostly a perception, and from the pictures that he could see. Now in the 80s, Madonna was pretty young. Before that workout, before that she lost weight, I don't know, many things are happening to the bodies. With age, bodies can be whether slightly drier or on contrary, slightly softer, it just depends. So her frame, the shortness of her limbs, and the softness is still romantic. She can choose a different style for herself. That is a different story. And one sharp nose and one sharp lips don't make the person a totally different type. Is the majority of elements, is the overall look, it's head to toe, is what you perceive when you're looking at the person in her natural thing, not in her outfits, not with those crazy hair, crazy makeup, crazy outfits. This is why all those photo sessions, when the person is on stage, all those crazy costumes, they change a lot. Haircuts, hair color, makeup, all this is changing a lot. So that gives us that confusion. We're not always able to look at the person in its clear version. I was also a little bit confused when I first saw that he put Madonna into that category. So I will tell you my viewpoint. First of all, when I checked her younger pictures, I could see that she is romantic and she doesn't fit into any other category than romantic. She has slightly sloped shoulders. She had some softness in her body. She had some curves. She had shortened limbs. She had rounded cheeks. She had huge eyes. And if we look at all her outfits on her pictures, that is my favorite pictures of her. I think that is that very romantic vibe in there. Rounded, soft hair, not punkish. Ornateness, some kind of a glamour. Her makeup is not overloaded. It's very gentle and delicate, and at the same time pretty glamorous and pretty ornate. So from my viewpoint, of course, now if she's gonna wear something extremely gentle like super flowy dress, probably as a contrast you will notice her her strong arms. Again, he said about that they are changing their bodies very much. Imagine if she would work out but just for her health, but not to change the body muscles and not to change the way the body looks. Again, it's not a style. Romantic is not a style. It doesn't mean that she has to wear always those flowers and ruffles and being super feminine and ornate and glamorous and stuff like that. It's not a study about this. It's just mostly about her wearing more romantic lines in the outfits, using something rounded, using something maybe more gentle in terms of colors and stuff, maybe less aggressive, less punkish. Number 2, people also get confused when they see a star that is being slightly different in her youth than in her older age. For example, Mila Jovovich. When she was a young girl, she looked slightly softer. Her face, arms and leg, they looked slightly softer. This is one of the skills to actually see the bone structure, not to paying too much attention on the flesh itself. If you're not looking at specific things, but just look at the whole body overall, again, you have pretty good objective pictures. So what would be the first thing that you would see? The vertical line. We always check what is dominant in this or that body. If we see the vertical line right away, long arms, long legs. Dramatics can also be curvy, but that is not the dominant characteristic in their body. They still look pretty narrow and their bones look slightly straight. But that's a subject for another video. We're not gonna discuss this again. I just wanted to show you that sometimes teenagers, they can look slightly chubbier than in the future. Or they can look, on contrary, slightly drier and more tomboyish than in the future. So until a certain age, it's kind of hard to see. So we need to wait a little bit until we will be able to see. Maybe the person has to be, I don't know, 18, 20 years old. Number 3, it's harder to see the bone structure when the person is a little bit softer or slightly overweight or slightly fuller, has full of flesh. And yeah, it is harder to see. That is true. Debbie Allen, she is flamboyant gamine. Some people didn't understand why, because they didn't see her pictures when she was younger. We could see her frame, smallish, slightly broadly angular, but not broad. Flamboyant gamines are not broad. They can be slightly broadly angular, even if they are slightly curvy or something like that. It doesn't matter unless this is what we see, that they're slightly angular frame and they're on a smaller side. Debbie Allen, when she became older, she gained some weight. She became pretty rounded, but her frame and her bone structure stayed the same. So she's still a flamboyant gamine. So she looks amazing in those flamboyant gamine kind of outfits, like the way she builds her outfit. Number 4, Sarah Jessica Parker. Many people say, how can she be flamboyant natural if flamboyant natural is one of the tallest types? And that is her height. Yes, smaller women can still have a longer vertical line visually. So they sometimes can be one of the taller types, sometimes. In one of my next videos, I will explain you about height a little bit more. We talk about Sarah Jessica Parker? Yeah, but within her body, she's not small flamboyant natural. She's just on the smaller side if we compare her to other flamboyant naturals. But she still has that vertical line. That her proportions are very interesting, like the size of her head, the size of her body, her limbs look elongated comparing to the width of her body. So overall, if we look on head to toe of her, we can see flamboyant natural is the only thing that we can see her in. She can definitely pull off the vertical line silhouettes. Long lines, she can pull that off. She can pull off long hair. She would look slightly weird if we would try to dress her, for example, like a flamboyant gamine or something like that. She would not look as herself. Number 5, Charlize Theron. And Kibbe first said that she was theatrical romantic and then reassigned her to flamboyant natural. You can ask, how can that be? They're so different. Theatrical romantic is on one spectrum. She's almost 100% yin, and flamboyant natural is almost 100% yang. Like, how he could do that? Again, my idea is that he was not sitting on the internet and searching for celebrities' photos. Many people, when they started interested in his technology and internet, they started asking him this or that celebrity, what she would be. And some celebrities, probably he just thought out of his head the way he remembered how they looked, their face, and then some dresses that she wore and stuff like that. So he probably didn't put any much attention on her pictures, or he didn't Google her height. So out of his head, probably he said she could be theatrical romantic, because yeah, her face has pretty delicate bone structure, pretty delicate facial bones, pretty delicate cheekbones, and pretty full lips, pretty small nose, and stuff like that. So it just in general, he was thinking maybe she was. But then probably he looked in those pictures. Maybe he Googled her height. Maybe he Googled her pictures on the beach, or maybe he saw her from the distance. Some celebrities he could see, he could observe himself. So he could tell how they look in person. And then he reassigned her because it's obviously a flamboyant, natural body she has. And then everything kind of comes in harmony, and her face is not as delicate anymore, and the body structure is very important. So you can see her vertical line first of all, and width second of all. So her frame is angular and pretty powerful, pretty strong. She's pretty strong looking, and her upper back is pretty wide. It also stands for more natural type. You can't have a tall theatrical romantic. You can't have a tall romantic or gamine. The recommendations are not gonna work on them. Those outfits are not gonna work on them. So if a woman is really tall, extremely tall, she can only be one of three: flamboyant, natural, soft, dramatic, or dramatic. Those are the only three options that she can be, because she already has that elongated vertical line, and it is a lot of young. Now we go to the next, Taylor Swift. She is a dramatic, a verified dramatic in Kibbe's list. Some people might say, yeah, she has quite like heart-shaped face, and her face looks like a soft gamine or something like that. Okay, researching about somebody, you gotta see her full body pictures. This is her height. The person with that height can be only one of three: dramatic, soft dramatic, or flamboyant natural. They can't be tall gamines. Gamine's yin undercurrent is in size, in shorter bones. So she could be only one of three. She's not wide enough for flamboyant natural type. Her facial bones, her eyes are pretty small and sharp, her nose is pretty sharp, her lips are slightly sharpened chin. So her face doesn't have those blunt bones. She doesn't have that width necessarily. So first thing that we see, that we look at her head to toe with the right angle of a camera, is height. Long vertical line, that's what we see. And then, do we see curves? Do we remember curves about her? No. Do we remember some width about her? Her rib cage, her upper back is not strong, not powerful, not wide. She's still slightly narrower. So she can only be dramatic. Now the style she chooses can be absolutely different. It's not about styles, it's about how you create an outfit. It's a head to toe look. It's how you create that head to toe look. It's all about this. Yeah, sometimes she dresses like a little girl, but again, remember my confusions about body types videos when I talked about Olsen sisters, when they tiny but they dress like flamboyant naturals. So this is what I meant by that. So some people are dressing not for their Kibbe type, they just are choosing a totally different thing for themselves, which is great. Why not? They are expressing themselves, but that one thing doesn't mean that they are this type. Another thing that I heard on the internet, some people are saying that plus size model Ashley Graham, she is a theatrical romantic on One of Romantics and stuff. Just because she's overweight, she has some flesh, doesn't mean automatically that she is curvy or she has romantic or theatrical romantic type or essence. Of course not. Now look at those pictures. And this is her height. Even without researching about the height, look at those pictures. So she's really, really tall. I found her pictures when she was slightly narrower in shape, and even if I didn't find those pictures, I can see in her face those pretty powerful and blunt bones. When I look at her, first of all, I see vertical line, I see long vertical line, I see long limbs, and she's tall. Those two things are enough for me to say that she's one of three: dramatic, soft dramatic, and flamboyant natural. I don't see dramatic in her. I don't see her, facial structure, facial bones, and her bones just in general. They don't look dramatic to me. It's just the whole thing is not dramatic to me. Even though dramatics can be overweight, but they just look slightly different. Many people can say she's soft dramatic because she has the curves. I don't know. From my viewpoint, for now, I think she is flamboyant natural. I think she has that width in her bones, and I think that despite of those curves, I can see her frame as being powerful and slightly wide. I don't think she's curve dominant. even though she is curvy. I'm curious what David would say actually. That would be interesting. Number 8, Lily Cole, soft gamine. No. Yes, she is one of those who has baby doll face. Gemma Ward, for example, and there are some other people, some other models that have baby face. But you can't say that they are this or that type unless you check their vertical line, their head to toe. So Lily Cole, she has enormously elongated limbs, arms and legs. When I look at her, first thing that I see is that vertical line. That's the first thing I see for sure. That tells me only one thing, that she can be one of 3: flamboyant, natural, soft, dramatic, or dramatic. I don't see her as dramatic. I don't see the sharp bones and narrow bones. I don't see them. Looking at her upper back, looking at her shoulders. So she's slightly fuller. Now again, people might say soft dramatic or flamboyant natural. For me, she's not curve dominant, even though she can have some flesh. When I imagine her with that soft dramatic outfits, I don't see her in that. I think she's a frame dominant. She has a pretty angular, strong frame. That's what I see. Tall vertical line and width. So to me, Lily Cole is flamboyant natural. Number 9, Zendaya. And I can see people are calling her gamine, again soft gamine, same situation with her. And I also thought, when I saw her face, I could see short, kind of cute bones or facial features. And again, that's a stereotype, that cuteness, femininity, childishness, teenage look. I know I use that a lot too. I was trying to express my observations somehow. I was trying to put in words things that I could see. That's why I was describing sometimes this person and that person like teenage-like or a baby doll or something like that. That also creates myths and stereotypes in the heads of other people. So I probably should use those words less a little bit. And Zendaya, yeah, she has that kind of face that people might think that she's a soft gamine, or she might use sometimes that style. But look at her vertical line. Now, height is very important, and it's much more important now, as I understand. And Kibbe is stressing that so much because there's a lot of misconceptions appear to be on the internet about the height. Totally agree with Kibbe about this. And he puts more emphasis now on being aware about height and what it does to a person's body. So height itself, long vertical line, is already a big, young part of the body. So Zendaya has a pretty long vertical line, and she has some width too. She's not curve dominant for me, so I would never call her a soft dramatic myself. I would go for flamboyant natural more for now. Number 10, Shakira. Shakira is soft natural, verified by Kibbe, and she is that tall, so she's tiny. And Kibbe says that soft naturals are normally moderately tall. They can be slightly smaller than naturals. He doesn't use naturals anymore. Natural classics and pure gamines don't exist for Kibbe now. But she's definitely not moderate in size. She's quite tiny and small. But why is she not romantic then? Why she's not theatrical romantic? She's not curve dominant. You don't see her curves, first of all, when you look at her. You don't see her softness. You just look at her face and her bone structure is slightly wider. And Shakira softened squares, blunt, slightly blunt squares. But she is small, and her smallishness is her yin undercurrent. And why is she not one of gamines? Just because her frame is different. Look at her upper back, look at her shoulders. Her upper back and her shoulders tells us some width, and she's not tall, so she looks slightly moderate. She doesn't look super tiny from my viewpoint. And she has that slightly blunt, softened, young, softened, squarish shape. Alright, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and please stay tuned because very soon, in 1 week, we keep talking about this. And I prepared some very interesting information for you about this. Subscribe on my Pinterest for 13 boards as an inspiration for the body types. Also, you can subscribe on my Instagram. All the links I'm gonna leave down below. Also, you can become my sponsor or subscribe on my Patreon for some exclusive videos, some early access to these videos, and just if you want to support me and my channel. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.